Well, it's great to come in here on a Monday after a W. It's never fun the other way. But just put an end to last week's chapter, guys. Watched the tape last night, or yesterday afternoon, and a lot of good things done on tape. And a lot of things to correct. Obviously, first half was probably about as good a 30 minutes as we played as a football team. I thought the offense came out in the second half and really played another, pretty darn good second half. Some little mistakes here and there, but as a whole, played pretty good. Defensively, we lost our focus a little bit. I think I don't know if we were feeling good. Maybe Sean can tell us up there. Sean didn't lose his focus. That's why he's here today. But it seemed like we lost our focus a little bit. Just didn't do the little things that we did in the first half, which is a great thing. I mean, I think you got to learn from your mistakes and move on. And it's great to get a win with the adversity at the end. I mean, it's nice to be in. You can't practice that. The only way to get adversity is in the real thing. We can try to do it and pretend it's in practice, but the only way you really get it is in a game. So I loved how our guys again continue to fight to the end, and then we're able to finish the game off both offensively and defensively. So that's a major test there. And then going into this week, Rich is really where the focus is right now, and what we're all working on is a good Georgia Tech football team that's had two tough losses of themselves. They're kind of like we were a week ago, coming off of two tough losses, to Miami and Clemson. Two good football teams. They started off 3-0, and now they're 3-2, and lost to two very good football teams that are in the top 25. So they're looking at that, saying, "Hey, we got a good football team too." And I think it's two evenly matched teams coming in here. I mean, you talk about two very good defenses, I think, versus the run. I think they're in the top 25 as we are, and they're really good in the red zone. Defensively, they're strong. They're very, very sound. Ted Roof does a great job coaching defense, and is an outstanding coach that I've known through the years, and got a lot of respect for him. I even think he was up here in the state of Pennsylvania at one time. And then offense, Coach Johnson, on his 20th year, does a tremendous job with the triple option, the spread option, whatever you want to call it, and is a great coach, and obviously heavily involved with what they do offensively. They've got a little extra tape from, two games that we had. We've done a good job preparing all through doubles, which I don't know if we've talked about it with you guys during the summer, but we've had what we call a Panther period where we focus on something that we need to get good at. So I feel so much more comfortable right now on a Monday coming into this game than we did a year ago, because you had no time to think about it, and you're just worried about doing what you do, not worried about Georgia Tech. So I think that'll help as we move forward with the option, and they'll have some changes. We'll have some changes, which is always good, and there'll be some things that we'll have to react to. But our guys will come in tomorrow kind of having a good idea of what changes we did during the summer and how we're going to move forward. So with that, I'll just open it up for questions.
Are you using Justin Thomas any differently this year? His yards per carry is down.
Yeah.
Running is off.
Yeah, I mean, he's running his off. He's the second leading carrier. I think he's got 57 attempts. The leading carrier is number 26, the Mills kid, who's a freshman, and I think he's a special player. I think he's a guy. He's got the most carries. So the guy under center, and then the guy standing right behind him are the two guys that are getting a lot of carries. And then they're what they call their A backs. Those two guys on the wing that are always going in motion, have a lot of speed. They can split out and get vertical, but they're fast there at that spot.
Is it their speed that makes them hard to defend?
Come on, Jerry. No, it's the scheme and the speed together. Speed is one thing. Everybody's got speed. I mean, but it's really what they do and how they do it. I mean, they're so good with what they do. They'll bring a guy in motion and then look to the sideline and get stuff. So it's not the speed. And Navy proves that. I don't think Navy's got the fastest guys in the country. They're not getting a bunch of 4 stars, 5 stars, but it's the execution of that offense and what they do and how they do it. That's special, I think. It's a scheme. It's, no doubt the scheme. But when you got the speed and the scheme, it gets scary.
How much of that has to do with the fact that it's just so rare that you see an attack like that? It's hard to get your kids to see something else.
Well,
11 games a year, and then you got this one-off against this other.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And and every week's a little bit different. You're facing a different offense, a different quarterback, a different run game. So every week's a little different. I mean, in the second half, Marshall came out and ran a different play that we hadn't seen, where they're folding the center around and gaining a few yards on just different stuff. So every week's a little bit different that you're going to see. But it's certainly their advantage. They run it every day, and we run once a year, and that's why it was so important for us to get some time during fall camp to work on our trade. We have to work on them, and that's their advantage, and I think they know that. That's common sense.
How excited are you of what you're getting so far? Are you at all surprised with what you're getting from the freshman class?
Not really. I mean, when you look at the freshmen that are playing, on offense, you have Aaron Matthews, caught a ball the other day, and Frenchie has a nice little run around the edge and nice spin move. You see his athletic ability and what he's going to do in the future, and we felt like we needed, we were wearing out Quadri and got those two young guys in there, but those are two spots that you're looking at, that you're happy with. And then there's some other spots that you're not as happy with. I'd like to get more out of, Amir Watts. I'm trying to think if there's any other freshmen that you can think of that I'd like to get more out of him. But it's hard for freshmen to come in and be that mature to play at this level. And different positions are different, learning curve there that you have to go through. And so we just got to keep progressing with those guys. But I'm happy with what we're getting so far. And we got some guys that aren't playing right now that are going to be really good that we'd like to save if we can. I mean, if they're young guys and they're just as good as those guys we have in there, they're going to be much better in another year. We're not going to just play the guy just to see what happens. That's bad coaching if we just want to see what happens. Because you only find out in the games. If it doesn't go good, then what are you going to do? Then sit them for the rest of the year and go, sorry about that? So we got some other good players that we have in our pockets that are going to be fun to watch in the future, I think.
You mentioned Watts. I mean, do you feel like...
I mentioned what?
Watts. You mentioned
Yeah.
Amir Watts.
Yeah.
Do you feel like overall your D-line depth, maybe lack of rotation, is catching up with those guys a little bit? Do you think they're getting worn down, particularly in the second half on Saturday night?
Yeah, a little bit, but it was so cool out. I mean, I could see that in North Carolina with the temperature. I lost probably 5 pounds in that game, so I can't imagine what they lost water weight, but I wish I lost more than 5. But I think that, we'll play a toll. We got some guys that are, I think getting better in there. I'd like to see Herndon do something this week as well. I think he can be a force in there. And this is a great game for Amir Watts because he can move. So we just got to get him going and get him coached up.
For coaches and players, Matt, how tricky is it to move from 3 teams that were so predicated on the past to facing triple option?
Our guys would rather you run the ball. Okay, as you can probably see that we like to defend the run. Obviously the option gives you a whole different perspective on defending the run because they'd rather you line up at really what we'd like you to do is line up in I backs, okay, and just try to run the power and the ISO. I mean, that's the fun part of football. That's what it used to be. Now it's all this spread and trick 'em football. But this will be fun. I think our guys are looking forward to it, I believe. I think they're also looking forward to not having 3 weeks of practice to do it, too. Let's get it done in 1 week and let's go. So.
As a defensive-minded coach, is something you look forward to, kind of trying to contain it?
Yeah, I think it's always, I was here till real late last night, and I enjoy, just trying to, figure out what it is. And the other thing is it's nice to have, really 2 games under your belt. I mean, we're going to look heavily at what we did against Navy and Georgia Tech last year, and you're going to tweak some things that you do. You're going to have some new stuff that you have to do because, they're preparing for, what they saw. That's all they can prepare for. So we'll have our little things. They'll have their new things. But it's nice to go back and dissect, really, what you did in the past and how you can make it better. And I think that's, what we want to do. So it's fun.
On Jordan with the depth chart change?
No, nothing more than what I told you Sunday. So we hope, we'll see.
You hope what? You said we hope. I'm just curious. You hope what?
Okay, thanks.
Is he?
I'm not talking about. What's that?
Oh, is
Yeah.
he practicing?
You'll see tomorrow morning. Yes, but hey, I'm not. You guys know I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not talking about the injuries or anything else about anybody. Period.
I respect your position on that, but I just
Thank you.
Has whatever kept him out of the lineup the other day?
It seems like a hot topic here, you guys.
Well, he's a big player. Has whatever kept him out of the lineup Saturday night been resolved?
It's never resolved, is it? If there's it's never resolved. We're still working on it. Next.
Can you talk about the difference you've seen in Jester from last year to this year, and how much maybe the results he's having on the field is just increasing his confidence and productivity?
Well, I think Jester's played at a high level. He's big, strong, athletic, and can catch. It cracks me up when the officials after the big touchdown, he goes, "Hey, I would have called holding if he would have dropped it." And I'm like, thanks. Just throw it anyway, just so make us feel good as he's cruising in there. You can't, you can hold him, jump on his back, and still can't stop him. He's a horse, and it's tough when you hear that after a touchdown, but. He's a great football player. It's what we expected. I think we've been talking about him since spring ball. His confidence is up here, and it should be because he's got strong hands. I saw a couple pictures. We'll put that picture up in our locker room down at Heinz Field of him because that was the play of the game. And he's just got such strong hands. You see it. I looked at all the pictures. I said, I want the picture that shows him that he definitely had the catch, not like it's almost there. In every picture, it's click, 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 click. Every picture, like strong hands got the ball. He had it here. He didn't have to wait till it was tucked in. You knew he had it. And that's the most impressive thing. He's strong. He's physical. He's fast, and he continues to practice better every day too. And I think you play like you practice. And when he practices at a high level and competes in practice to catch every ball, I think we're getting the same results on Saturday.
You guys are more well prepared to face this triple option with the depth you guys have at linebacker this year, and that extra year of knowledge you guys have in the defense, like Proof in particular.
Yeah, I think so. Because our guys have been through it even twice. It's not like it's we played Georgia Tech twice last year, really, because it's the same exact offense, different people running it. But I think it helps us. Now, is that going to lead to success? I can't tell you that. We need to stop it. But it does help that we've seen it. They know what's going on. They have an idea of what we like versus it. They'll get a feel for, the next moves, whoever's got that pencil in their hand at the end of the day, and we'll be able to, we'll see. There's no guarantees, as you know. This is because they got they're over there drawing stuff up on the board too, going, if they do this, we're going to do that. And, Paul does as good a job, scheming you in the option as anybody.
I said in the Navy game, Pat, say what went wrong there, what exactly needed to be fixed.
I'm not going to get into the football part of it, the X and O's part of it, because I'd just be blabbering on. But we didn't play very good. Okay, and I'll leave it at that. I obviously did a bad job of getting them ready for the game. We played better against Georgia Tech a year ago, and we still didn't stop it. So we played better against Georgia Tech and didn't defend the spread like I'd like to. And against Navy. I'm not sure. You got seniors departing, thinking about where they're going next, what's their next move, where am I going to train, they seemed like they were fired up at first. Matter of fact, they seemed like they weren't fired up at first. Then we got them fired up, and we thought we had them continue to be ready. But it was tough 3 weeks of defending the option, which I don't think is fun, and I don't think they thought it was a whole lot of fun either, probably. So I did a bad job.
Pat, was there developmental reasons why you had DeMar Hamlin dress and warm up with you guys on Saturday?
Was
Like for his development to kind of experience that, or?
No, well, we want everybody to dress, Jen. We want everybody to dress, and I think, and I'm not, but he's a guy that, I'm not going to talk about what it was, but he was, not ready to go, and he'll be, he's like I said last week. I think you guys asked just to football. He's getting better, and he's getting better on the field, and you can see some good things that he's doing, and he's always got a smile on his face. So that's the best thing. But he's back full time. But is he where he needs to be football wise? Probably not. But he could get there. But then is it too late?
Can you talk about just in generality what your philosophy is as far as true freshmen? When is it too late to use them and take into account their long-term career here as opposed to just 2016?
Some people have the philosophy that, hey, use them and don't worry about it, because who knows, they might leave you in 3 years anyway. You know, I hate to look at it that way. You know, this is their, you know, they spend a lot of time getting to where they are, and being on, you know, scholarship or not. You know, we don't want to. You know, I want to use them the right way, and I don't want, you know, even like Amir Watts is not playing enough. I feel guilty as a coach. You know, we started playing him thinking he was going to get better. He's kind of, you know, just kind of hung around and not done as well in practice. I feel like, you know, it's his fault and my fault. And I feel like I'm at fault when a guy doesn't progress like you know, you see it, and you're going, okay, he's going to keep getting better. By game 5, he's going to be on, you know, fire, and he's going to get 25 snaps. I want him to get more snaps. But he's also got to do it in practice, so you feel bad there. I don't want to, you know, do that to someone else either. So they got to be flat out better than the guys we're playing with right now, guaranteed, before we put a guy out there and all of a sudden go, oh, you know, it's not what we wanted. We were very careful with Maurice French, and you know, I wasn't happy even with the reps he got. I think 4 snaps in his first game 2 weeks ago. I wanted him to have, you know, 10 or 12. You know, if we're gonna put him in there, we got to use him. If you get major injuries, you know, there's no question. But our philosophy is to protect our kids and make sure that, you know, I want them to be playing a lot. I think it's tough when you're not playing a lot and we're using your red shirt. That's not fun. It's not fair.
Thank you. Talked a lot about how important the game was for Chester and his confidence, but for Nate to go out and make a play to win the game, he's been a good job managing. You said that last week, but to make a throw, to recognize the coverage, to make that, not only make the call, but execute it, I mean, that's got to be important for him too.
No question about it. It's good for everybody's confidence. I mean, our offense was, you know, was clicking, you know, and, you know, probably the only time this year that we threw for more than we ran, right? Nobody's talked about that. We threw for more than we ran, which, you know, was part of the plan, and it will continue to go forward when we need it. If you don't need it, you don't use it, and different people give you different stuff. But, you know, it was great for Nathan to make those shots, and he had a couple of them. He missed a couple too. But, you know, he's done a good job, and that's a big-time catch, and we trusted him to put the ball in the air on 3rd down too. So that was a huge play, and, you know, we're not afraid to do that in 3rd and short or in a 4-minute offense.
What do you think was the difference matter for Nate in that game? You know, was it because of the opponent, or you know, was there something you guys saw in terms of his development as a senior?
No, it had nothing to do with development. It had to do with what they're giving you and what coverage they're playing. They played a lot of man coverage. You saw guys traveling with the motion, and so they're playing a lot of man. And you know, and just like people, you know, we play a lot of man. It's not man coverage, but it looks like man out there. And you know, we took advantage of, you know, what really they were giving, and that's what other people are going to do, which is fine. You know, we just don't want someone to run for 300 on us and throw for 300. That's not good. You know, we want to cut that down and make them one-dimensional. And you know, we were offensively, we were two-dimensional. And you'd like to be that way, but if someone's letting you just run it, then you have to take advantage of it.
Was the message yesterday about, did you kind of emphasize the tackling issues you guys had in that 3rd quarter? I mean, against the run. You said that you were a little concerned with that.
No, it wasn't tackling. You know, it was a couple of the calls, number one, which we as coaches always put blame on ourselves. And, you know, and part of it was just some of our alignments, our little things. It's not, you know, if you're out of position by alignment, the tackles get harder, okay? If I let Jerry run down the aisle here, you know, it's hard to tackle him. But if I let him run down those aisles there, it's a little easier. So your alignments have got to be good. You turn, you know, open field tackles into, you know, short tackles. And, you know, sorry to always use you, Jerry. I use the most athletic guy in the house. You know, but, you know, that's what it comes down to. Just, you know, being in the right position. There's some things we did, and it's just like, you know, we didn't do it in the first half. You know, some of them were calls where we're thinking pass, and then they run it on a 2nd down and 10, and you go, you know, I thought they were going to throw it. Okay, well, that happens. You know, we want to have a good pass defense as well, and we're trying to help, you know, the back end by getting a pass rush, but then all of a sudden they run it, then it's not so good. So there was a couple of those where you expected them to throw it, and all of a sudden they didn't. You're going, why didn't you throw it like you did the last time? And then there's some ones where, you get up 28-0 or whatever it was at halftime, 27-0, and you think you're going to come out in the second half and throw it. Well, I think they were coming out to try to shorten the game, and all of a sudden had some success and said, hey, let's keep doing this. And I think our guys came out with the mentality that they're going to pin their ears back and run up the field and try to sack the quarterback, and all of a sudden it's running that way. That's, you know, those are some of the things, you know, and again, it's more right here, more than anything.
Shantez Moss averaging over 7 yards per carry in his first 2 games of playing meaningful snaps. Do you think he's earning more of a bigger role in the offense, and were you expecting him to make this big?
Yeah, I mean,
impact?
Shantez is a good football player. You know, I don't know if he's earning any more than he got, but you know, James Conner's pretty good too. So it's just nice to have two-headed monster back there, and you know, we're going to continue to take care of James and make sure he's good. The long-term effect and everything that he goes through, we constantly talk to him and make sure he's good. And it's good to have another guy to go in. And, you know, James will be the first one to say, man, you know, he's excited about Shantez and what he did because it helps him be better. You know, James doesn't need 45 carries. All we're doing is beating him down. And I've been on teams where you had a guy carry the ball 40 times in a game. It's like, whew. He doesn't need that now or for the rest of his life, for his future. So it's great when you can count on somebody else, and we can count on Shantez. I think we can count on Quadri Olson as well. Darren Hall, we can count on him too.
What a final question before we get to our player reps.
You mentioned something called a Panther period during practice, something that you guys needed to work on during fall camp.
Mm-hmm.
Is that? I just want to make sure I was understanding.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
I mean, what was it like team specific, like opponent, like future opponent specific, or was it just
Defensively, it was Georgia Tech. That's what it was. Period. We spent a lot of minutes on Georgia Tech. That's what it was. Period. Going from individual to team situations and just working on the little things we need to do fundamentally, like we're just talking about stopping the run here, whether it's a spread offense or a triple option offense, we're just working on those little things that we need to get better at, that we looked at during the summer and said this is what our focus needs to be, just so we get our kids further along. And, on offensively, we worked on a three-man front. They see a four-man front every day. So during that period, the offense wasn't wasting time. We opened up with Villanova, who was a three-man front. So we're focusing on, what they need to do, stuff that they don't see normally in a team period when we go, our offense versus our defense.
Coach, thank you very
Okay.
much.